Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now with just one connection? We're Express Employment Professionals, your full-service workforce solution. Every day, Express recruits qualified candidates in your area. So when it's time to hire, they have the talent you need ready to go to work. With more than 40 years in the staffing business and more than 860 locally owned and operated offices, Express helps thousands of companies find great people each year. And they can help you, too. Don't go it alone. Go to expresspros.com. One connection, great candidates, problem solved. expresspros.com, the workforce you need when you need them. That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com.
You're a startup founder. Finding product market fit is probably your number one priority. But to land bigger customers, you also need security compliance. Obtaining your SOC 2 or ISO 27001 certification can open those big doors, but they take time and energy, pulling you away from building and shipping. That's where Vanta comes in. Vanta is the all-in-one compliance solution helping startups get audit-ready and build a strong security foundation, quickly and painlessly. Vanta automates the manual security tasks that slow you down, helping you streamline your audit. The platform connects you with trusted experts to build your program, auditors to get you through audits quickly, and a marketplace for essentials like pen testing. So whether you're closing your first deal or gearing up for growth, Vanta makes compliance easy. Join over 8,000 companies, including Y Combinator and Techstar startups who trust Vanta. For a limited time, get $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/simplify. That's VANTA.com/simplify for $1,000 off.
You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lou Need, and today I have the honor of introducing a very special guest to the show, Sam Sherman. Sam's relentless focus to fostering a supportive company culture has propelled Socium to become the number one agency to work for in the U.S., earning accolades from esteemed sources such as Inc. 5000 and Inc. Magazine's Best Place to Work. Now, that is no small feat. With his expertise in digital strategy, Sam not only navigates the complexities of modern marketing, but also emphasizes the pivotal role of prioritizing employee well-being in driving long-term success. And we hear this all the time, work-life balance. How do we get employees to be happy, especially in this era? How do we keep them engaged and motivated? And Sam has done kind of marry the two, marketing and the well-being of employees. And so I'm excited to have him on here today. And with no further ado, Sam, welcome to the show.
Yes, Dr. Lunid, thank you so much for having me. We're on a mission to be the number one agency in the U.S. By no means do we think we're there just yet, but excited to really have a conversation with you here today and share a little bit more about myself and our journey.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have the right pieces to become the number one, and especially if you're targeting employee well-being in what you do. So let's dive in. Tell us about how you started the company, what led you here. You know, I love our hero's journey on how we become the entrepreneurs that we are.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think I always had that entrepreneurial-ish spirit in me, really just from a young age. My grandfather, he was a business owner himself. And really what I latched on to my grandfather's vision is that livelihood and just like a welcoming, competitive environment and a learning environment for the company that he had built. So I was able to maybe not necessarily see that firsthand since I was a little young, but I was able to hear some of those stories directly from him that inspired me. So I always had that. Did I necessarily think I'd be getting into the digital marketing realm? Not sure. I don't think so, but just my overall education at Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York, and taking a few different classes there that really kind of piqued my interest within this particular field, allowed me to realize, like, you know what, from a passion of mine, I find this really interesting. let's see how that goes. And 5-6 years later from that, I decided to branch off to start my own thing there. But yeah, I mean, foundationally, my intention behind all of this is really just creating an incredible work environment where people just love coming into work every day, which has since changed a little bit, where they're virtually coming into work as opposed to physically. But with that, everything else can really follow suit. Where people are happy, they're able to produce great work, they're able to feel creative, and I think our clients feel that as well. And that was the vision, and we're definitely seeing that come to fruition too, which is fun.
So building that culture internally actually helps the business grow. There's a correlation, you would say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're in the 40s now from a team size, and to date, fortunately, happy to share that like 95, probably more percent of our business is derived from referrals. Oh. And I think what does referral mean? It means we're doing good work. So colleagues will introduce some of their friends, or some of our partners might move over to other companies, but it's not so much, I think, I mean, it very much, of course, is doing good work, but I think it's also working with good people, and confident and happy to feel like we have just a really solid, well-rounded team here. So,
yeah. And the ability to bring everyone together is imperative. Tell us about the industry. Tell us about the shift that you see is happening. You mentioned briefly about people working from home, but also for businesses, there is a need to get a megaphone and shout it from the top of the mountain on social media, online, on how to get clients. Not everyone is as blessed to be able to get referrals, which is the cheapest and best way, of course. But there is a need to for businesses, entrepreneurs, and small businesses to utilize social media in a way that it's changing so vastly that we can't keep up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm totally with you. So how has our business shifted to people now mostly working from home? So we started Socium back in April 2019. Mm-hmm. With that, we had the intention always to be that in-office culture. Both my business partner and I, we came from a really well-rated, best workplace agency as well. That's where we met. And there's just a lot of special things that happen when you're able to be in the same room with people. Mm-hmm. So we opened up our office here in New York City. And as we all know, how the world shifted not too long after, we naturally started to work remotely. The beauty of our industry holistically is that, we're a full funnel performance marketing agency. Like we need a computer and an internet connection, physically speaking. So yeah, we were able to naturally, from an output standpoint, be pretty consistent. It's the balance of the motivation of our team and making sure that they feel, while we're not necessarily together physically, that they can feel like they're still part of something really special. So I think there's been a lot of different techniques and tactics that we've done to try to keep our team motivated and connected amongst each other. But I'm with you though, that's my take on just kind of the overall shift there. You mentioned just like that megaphone to get new business. We were fortunate that for business owners to say, oh yeah, like this is how I did it, and it's the perfect playbook. It's like, come on, like the fact and reality is that I've been very lucky as well throughout this journey, and very fortunate, and I lead definitely with gratitude towards that. So one, you do need a little bit of luck.
Yeah,
I was lucky in a sense that there were some opportunities that were quite big, where I had colleagues that joined different companies, or maybe there was, even instances of we had have a partnership with another agency that at one time they weren't able to service some of these clients because it was a little bit under their typical management fees, and they were happily and graciously able to provide us some of those opportunities from a lead standpoint. So I think it's a balance of getting yourself out there. Arguably, what has remained relatively constant from when we first started in 2019 to now is that megaphone within social media and being able to capitalize on that appropriately. So, we've been fortunate to get to where we are now, just purely from that more referral play. But come in 2024, we definitely have some new strategies to really diversify ourselves and not be fully dependent on referral networks and to get us to that next level. So from a me personally standpoint, I've definitely taken on a little bit more of self-promotion, if you will, within LinkedIn, just to be able to put somewhat of a face to a name, though I'm not perfectly comfortable with that concept, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
And just involvement in different conferences and revamps of our existing marketing materials to be a little bit more louder than we have in the past. But it's there's not a perfect model. I can promise you that. And you do need a little bit of luck, but the more reps you get and the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunity to receive some of that luck as well. So just be vulnerable and go for it.
Yeah, and I concur. And for a lot of entrepreneurs who are more on the introverted side, who don't want to be the face of the business or who don't want to get super personal, but there's a change because there's a lot of noise on social media. So people want to connect with you. You know the adage, right? People want to trust, connect, and what is I'm losing my mind right now.
No, but, it's funny you say that too, because like I'm definitely not an introvert per se, but we actually had a conversation with someone the other day who's in the sales realm, and they hate in-person stuff, but that's why they actually love this day and age, because they're able to be behind a computer and not necessarily be somebody you're not by any means, but you can be more vulnerable and throw yourself out there and not feel like you're having to use that fake smile for the next 6 hours at a dinner meeting. So yeah, I mean, Dr. Looney, like you said, like just I think it's the reps and just giving yourself a chance to get some of these opportunities. And I don't know, I don't know why it comes to me now, and I'm not somebody to share this quote ever, but like this Wayne Gretzky quote, of what is it? Like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, or is that Wayne Gretzky or was that Michael Jordan? Somebody
Michael
had that.
Jordan. I know if I heard it, Michael Jordan.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that quote itself just kind of spoke to me from the conversation that we've been having now.
Yeah, it's the repetition, as you say, is doing the numbers. And so for a lot of entrepreneurs, like I know with social media right now, personalization is key, right? It's increasingly more important. Let's talk about how Socium tailors the strategies to meet the unique needs of your clients, each one of them, because I know that you do that quite well. And that explains your retention rate and also referral rate.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what we do at Socium, so we're really like a full funnel marketing agency. So we have divisions that focus on paid media. So within paid media, you have paid search that's helping companies get noticed through sponsored ads within Google and Microsoft for the most part. Then paid social, where 90% of our business is still within Meta as a whole, including Facebook, Instagram. And then the other 10 is diverse bunch of TikTok to LinkedIn to Pinterest. But that's one facet of our full funnel approach. And then we have SEO, we have a whole performance creative division as well. And I think the piece around adding value, the industry itself has changed dramatically. Anybody in the industry will very much concur with that as well. Back in 2019, segmentation, true pinpoint accuracy with targeting was, for us, the name of the game. And I think what really separated ourselves very early on. Nowadays, understandably so, Google and Meta, they want to make it super easy for any brand, any individual to market on their platform. So they're doing the smaller consolidation model. And with that, no doubt, there's still techniques and tactics that you have to do. But I think what it's forcing us to be and forcing marketers to be is our marketers. So it's not just depending on the data, but rather the creativity and that personalization like you described. And I think that's where we add value of understanding that full picture of, okay, like, is this a brand this consumer's never heard of? Like, what's the step in that funnel to introduce them to the brand? And as they start getting a little bit lower into that consideration process towards whether that's a purchase or filling out a lead form, whatever that may be, we're just kind of there and personalizing that content to follow them appropriately. So it's an interesting ride. And I think we're fortunate that we're a relatively small company that can adapt to such crazy shifts that have been going on in the industry. But I really feel for these larger companies that have to flip a lot of things on their head to to keep up with all the wonderful technology advancements that have happened too.
To make it work, yeah. And speaking of technology, and there's a few coming out, new technologies and platforms. So how do you see the future? What is the future of digital marketing? Tell us
I
about.
Know.
Fill us in.
I wish.
How are you preparing for the shift having your size?
Yeah, well, I wish I had that crystal ball because that would be so much easier, man. And also that planning piece, you can't at this point plan 3 years ahead because you're going to get something real new in a year, maybe even less. But there's definitely some of those major pillars, if you will. There's AI, of course, that is the hot topic that understandably should be, and then just like algorithmic updates as well. I think on the AI piece, well, one, you have to embrace it. I think AI is your friend. You have to be able to leverage that within your existing business. I don't think by any means over the next few years, and arguably, I really do firmly believe that there has to be a human behind overall strategy for businesses to really help grow businesses still. So I don't see that AI is necessarily going to take over this particular industry from a headcount standpoint, but I definitely think it should be leveraged to make our lives a lot easier. We actually just had a company retreat in, oh my gosh, where was it? So I'm thinking of our Savannah retreat. Excuse me, it was in Austin, Texas. Gosh, my team, if they're going to listen to this, they're like, Sam, come on, this was like 3 weeks ago. But we just had a company retreat in Austin, and it was very much more of like a work-focused retreat where we were all in a conference room together, and we had a couple of different presentations on how we can leverage ChatGPT or even some image creation tools to help open up more possibilities towards strategic advancements with our clients. So by no means do we think that it's going to replace our typical day-to-day, at least not at this point. We could be open to that too, and then we pivot from there as well. But how do we adapt to really get that leg up with providing the best possible service that we can for our brands? So it's there, but
yeah,
I can't plan 3 years ahead for sure.
Well, because it will change on you. And I like the notion of utilizing it as a leverage, utilizing it as a way to actually be better, to improve, even if it's content or the SEO or the keywords, whatever it is that you're doing. I heard one of my mentors said to me, he got a quote that says, AI will not replace you, but someone who uses AI will. And so wow. There you go, right? There's Socium using AI to actually capitalize on its effectiveness to make the strategies more robust.
Totally. And I mean, I think it's still a competitive advantage right now. Like, I don't think that agencies have necessarily cracked the code on how to leverage it exactly. I think we're close, but I don't think that there's this perfect playbook, nor should there really be. But with all of that, it's an even playing field, and we're a nimble, smaller agency that can adapt and I think be able to add that value pretty quickly and effectively. And we're doing that right now, but like any owner would say, is that we just have to keep doing more of that and knowledge sharing and utilizing your team to think of different ideas too. So it's a cool challenge. It's a challenge, but it's a cool challenge.
It's exciting time to be alive, honestly. You have all these tools at disposals. Yeah.
Totally.
For communication, I want to understand, talking about technology again and AI. And when we started off, we talked about the power of having a team, a well-cultured team to actually execute for your business. And let's talk to how you and your team actually attain effective communication and collaboration throughout this whole marketing process, because you're talking to some of the clients that have no idea how to put the presence, get a presence or do branding, get a branding message, the pillars and any of that, right? So how do you effectively gear your team to have that human touch during the marketing process?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of technical components to that to help maybe train up our team on this full funnel type of approach. So, we have, based on the given division, different monthly catch-ups. Like our social team has the social happy hour, where we talk a little bit about industry updates, what's some different tests that are being run across the company. We have a testing log that reflects that too, so everyone can go in, We also have like an industry updates automated like RSS integration within Slack, so people can see really in real time from a core set of websites what's happening in the industry and how we could potentially influence that for our brands. We have people here that part of their roles and responsibilities at Socium is to keep that pulse on the competitive environment and industry as a whole. And also people here that are just out there, including myself, talking to other agency owners, business owners, asking what they're working on and not only how we can help support, but really just what are the challenges that they're facing every day too. So I think there's a little bit of definitely a bit of knowledge transfer that we're technically trying to showcase across the team. But you can have all this information and it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be able to execute on it. And I think the execution piece, it's very much in us, but the execution, I think you need to have that high level of motivation in people that feel like they're a part of something special here to actually translate all of this great knowledge. So we try to have a lot of different social gatherings, whether it's virtual or in person, in different platforms that we've invested in on Slack, just to get team engagement high and feel like they're, while they might be in a different state, that they might be the sole person that resides in that state out of our company, they can still feel like they're part of a team and something special. So I think it's the balance between those two, because you don't want to just provide all this culture and conversation and then people are like, I love this place, but I have no work to do. Like, I don't know how I'm moving the needle forward for my brand. So we always try to find that happy balance there.
Yeah. And I know, especially people coming from corporate America, it's very different working for corporate America, working for a startup, or working for a small business. And I find that the entrepreneurs, the founders like yourself, are really working diligently to bring the human touch, to bring the community, to bring the team building aspect back into it, especially if you're small enough to do so. And that actually gives them purpose. And if you can foster that leadership top down and bring it to every employee, then as you scale, as you grow, it remains intact, which is amazing. Sam, let's talk about your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up? What's your morning routine like?
My morning routine has very much changed over the last 14 months. We have a 14-month-old, and
thank you. 16-month-old, so I'm with you.
Oh man, yeah. So my morning routine recently, with this wonderful teething milestone, has been quite a little bit different. It feels, but to speak a little bit to that, or a lot of it to it, that's really centered around my routine. So while I usually wake up a little bit more abruptly this day and age and don't really have my alarm set, my morning routine is spending time with my son. It's a nice opportunity for my wife to catch up on a few more hours of sleep that's been happening because of the abrupt wake ups in the evening hours. But yeah, I received a book from an old friend, colleague of mine, called The Daily Dad. And within there's just like little excerpts of every single day you can read a single page that gives you a bit of a positive light at the end of the tunnel with your journey that you're having with your young family. And for me, I spend my early morning quickly reading that one excerpt as my son is still feeding. And that just allows me to put things in perspective, to really spend the quality time that I need with my family, so that come 8:30 is when I start to put on the different shift in my mindset of, okay, it's time to start getting ready for work and whatnot. So yeah, my morning routine is quickly turning open that book of The Daily Dad, which I highly recommend, and reading that one page of putting life in perspective. And it allows you to just be present and get away from your technology, and definitely before that 8:30 mark, where I'm making coffee in my bougie coffee machine that I need, and 8:30 hits and I'm reading some of those industry articles that are already in my email and getting ready for the day. So
yeah, very nice. The prioritizing the need to spend time with family now, and reading.
Yeah.
Reading is a form of meditation within itself. Kind of prepares the mind for what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it allows me to spend my time at work. It's much more targeted and dedicated because what I do know is 5 steps out of my home office is my next part of my day that, I love and enjoy, but it's just forcing me to allow myself to have that time at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I think if anything, over the last 14 months, I think there's this, you want to use this as an advantage in conversation that I feel like I get more done, frankly, because I need to get it done now because I want to make sure that I can spend that time in those crucial hours and the only couple hours I have before he goes to sleep. So it's unique for probably your listener group that you kind of have to be a parent to know in a sense. But I think that if anything, over the last year, it's kind of created a competitive advantage for me, oddly. So that's a little bit there.
Yeah, it teaches you to be present, to be in the moment. I do agree with you. As I said, my husband and I have a 16-month-old, and that's precisely what we learned as well is, okay, so she's going to get up at 6 o'clock. So I guess I'm waking up at 5 a.m., 4:30. So because I got to meditate before I go to her. And when I'm with her, it's total presence. You're in the moment. They teach you how to be here now, which is nice. And you can be at work and kind of bring everything with work. And then when you leave it there, you step 5 steps away to the family life.
That's beautiful. Yeah, the meditation piece, I used to do a little bit of that before going to bed, and it was so impactful for me. So your insight on still setting that alarm, and while it's a little bit earlier, you're waking up and starting your day that way. That's inspiring for me too. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Absolutely. The non-negotiables, meditation. How about working out, moving the body? I know that gives you energy. You are chasing your 14-month-old around. But do we set time for working out the body, movement, and kind of getting the serotonin flowing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. My wife's going to laugh because we have a rowing machine at home that transparently it's not collecting dust. But it's close. I got to get back on that. But yeah, we have a rowing machine at home that I have always felt fantastic afterwards with like a real full body workout that you don't have to dedicate too much time to. There's no commute. There's, as mentioned, a full body workout. So that's an easy 20 to 30 minutes there, but also excited that the weather's getting nicer. We're committed to going on a nice walk every day just to get that nice nature feel in between, like really in the middle of the day, just to maybe separate a little bit and clear your head a little bit. But so we've been doing that, but it's comforting to know that it's getting a little bit lighter out in the Northeast here and also frankly a little bit warmer. So, and then golf season's coming back up. So that's a little bit of enjoyment from my end too. So excited to, I think nature and whatever way you absorb that is such a beautiful, impactful thing for people.
It's therapeutic. Yeah, it's calming and therapeutic. Sam, where do we connect with you? How can we find you?
Absolutely. LinkedIn, as mentioned, I'm definitely getting a little bit more exposure and reps there to connect with others, but also just we're a small shop, sociummedia.com. We provide free consultations for any size brands, and yours truly receives every single one, along with a few other team members here. So there's contact information there, but I am very active from a communication, like direct response standpoint on LinkedIn as well. Yeah, excited to hear from a few people here.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. We love quotes here at Best Morning Routine. So if you don't mind leaving us with one of your favorite or even a strategy that you use in-house, that would be super.
Yeah, there's so many. Where do I go? I think it goes back maybe to bring us back a little bit on our earlier conversation is just around that vulnerability. You don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to be an introvert to be successful if you're looking to go towards that entrepreneurial journey. It's just that vulnerability piece and understanding that sometimes you'll feel uncomfortable in instances, and uncomfortable is kind of the nice gray area that I like to sit in a little bit. It forces you to think of new out of the box ideas. And if you were comfortable, then you wouldn't be an entrepreneur. You have to get uncomfortable, and you have to stay vulnerable, and also not be scared to ask for help either. So that vulnerability piece, I think, has been crucial. That has it's a learned skill as much as we want to say that we're vulnerable. I think there's definitely a lot more on there to tap into, and I'm still working on that personally myself. But I'd say that that's just been a big secret hack that I think everyone is very much capable of taking that 1% better towards it as well.
Yeah, and knowing what you're good at and when to actually ask for help or delegate, and having that, because as entrepreneurs we want to own it all. We want to do it. Wear all the hats, and we don't have to. and
No.
That speaks to that, being that vulnerable and being uncomfortable, and knowing that you're not alone. And every entrepreneur goes through this process.
You're right. It can be lonely, but it will be lonely, but it doesn't have to be as much as you might be feeling, and use that network and tap into others. If you're looking to build that network, we've maybe not always been in the same situation as you, but we very much are open to communicating about it as well.
Yeah, well put. Sam, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you so much as well. And it's just a beautiful platform that you've built, and I'm thankful to be a part of it.
You've been amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience and their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's LIBSYN, ads.com today.
Hi, I'm Chris Gethard, and I'm very excited to tell you about Beautiful Anonymous, a podcast where I talk to random people on the phone. I tweet out a phone number, thousands of people try to call. Talk to one of them, they stay anonymous, I can't hang up, that's all the rules. I never know what's going to happen. We get serious ones. I've talked with meth dealers on their way to prison. I've talked to people who survived mass shootings. Crazy funny ones. I talked to a guy with a goose laugh, somebody who dresses up as a pirate on the weekends. I never know what's going to happen. It's a great show. Subscribe today, Beautiful Anonymous.